Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. Today we're on top of turret number 1. As you can see, there are a number of slotted screws here on top of the turret. These screws are about the size of my fist. They are good sized screws, simple slotted screws. So why are the turret roofs screwed into place? Very simple answer to that question. If we have to replace machinery inside the turret, that can be anything from relining the barrel of the turret to repairing something that's damaged, we'll have to remove the entire roof of the turret to be able to do that. To remove the roof of the turret, you come up here and you unscrew all of these screws. The turret roof is broken into, each turret roof is broken up into 5 plates. And those plates tend to have angles cut on each end so that, they mate up against each other like this. They're about 7.5 inches thick, or 7.25 inches thick total. And then they're just threaded so you can screw these screws in. You unscrew all the screws, and then you can screw like a threaded pad eye into them so the shipyard crane can pull the plates off. Then they're very specifically set up so some plates are over top of others, so you've got to pull them in a specific order. Piece of cake. It does though raise the question, with screws this size, what kind of screwdriver are you using? And that's the real purpose of tonight's video. People laugh when I call this a medium-sized screwdriver. This is an original from one of the repair lockers on the Battleship. This was on board in the 80s, and it's still used by our volunteers today. It's a good sized screwdriver, but this is the medium screwdriver, and as you can see, it is way too small for these screws. In fact, it can turn entirely inside that slot. So how is this thing that's bigger than a hobbit's sword the medium-sized screwdriver? Well, we recently found on board one of the large-sized screwdrivers. This piece is really cool. It's just a couple of pieces of pipe that have been welded together with a slot on the end. And so this is one of the T-handled screwdrivers that is just like the perfect size for these screws. It's, notice, the right height for somebody. I'm one curator tall, about 6 feet, about 2 meters, 72 inches. And it's just the perfect height for me to stand here and crank on. If I'm not getting enough leverage because these are all painted in place, I can take some breaker bars like the dogging wrenches around many of the doors here and just slot those over the ends to give this more length, and that's giving me way more torque to help twist this around. Keep in mind that removing the turret tops is something that we are only doing in the shipyard. This isn't something that we're going to come up here and do for S's and G's while the ship is underway. So you got to go into the shipyard and have all those big brawny shipyard workers do this, and then have the shipyard crane that's able to actually lift these plates off of the turret roof. This particular screwdriver was found laying up against the bulkhead near the extreme stern of the ship. We were outside of Chief's berthing, heading aft towards the Nixie room on second deck at the extreme stern. And this was just propped up against the bulkhead near the wall there. Beneath Chief's berthing was a space that used to be the 3rd Division like storeroom. 3rd Division was the gunnery division for turret number 3. So my guess is this would have lived down there at some point. At some point, somebody pulled it out of there, set it off to the side, and we just don't have many opportunities to go back there. We were going back there because Drakenfeld was on the ship. You know, he's been on the ship a number of times now, but he'd never been back to the Nixie room. So I was like, okay, let's go back there and look. And then saw this sitting there. I've talked about these things for years. I've seen them in pictures and stuff, but I've never had one in my hands. As far as I knew, there weren't any left on board the Battleship. So it was real fun for us to just find this sitting there right on second deck, the deck that I spend most of my time on. And so it's one of those things super exciting. And so the next day we are making this video to show you this cool find on board. So now this is going to go into the museum's collection, and at some point it'll probably make it out in an exhibit somewhere. And when they decide to reactivate the ship, I'm sure we'll use it to get in there and fix some of the machinery. So for today's video, we showed off the medium screwdriver compared to the large. In the past, we've showed off this medium-sized wrench that I keep near my office. What is the large version of that wrench used for? I'll give you a hint. We do still have it on the Battleship, and it is too large for me to pick up. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate your support. There's a link in the description below if you'd like to donate to support the museum. It allows us to take the time to explore the ship and find cool objects like this, literally just laying there. I've probably walked past it 1,000 times. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find out about the museum and the channel. Thanks for watching.